All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Andre Paradis, who is a relationship coach, NLP coach, educator of effective communications, published writer, public speaker, and ordained minister. Andre, how you doing?
Good, good. It's always strange to hear somebody talk about me, and I go, "Who's that guy?" Oh, wait, that's me.
Yeah, yeah, no, I got you. Well, awesome, man. Thanks for coming on the show. We like to jump right in. So if you could start with telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Well, for fun, well, I'm a car guy by nature. So I collect cars. I have old cars. I have many old cars. Some restored, some in the process of being restored. Something about I'm stuck in the '60s era, the nostalgia of the '60s era's cars, right? The big
Yeah,
fins and that those cruisers and things that don't exist anymore that were just normal automobile, and somehow my part of my hook is I get to like
yeah,
save them, right? Because they're disappearing. Like they're not. There's nothing to replace them
yeah.
anymore. We're not going to be restoring current cars in 25, 30 years. These cars that were made since the '90s are just made to be disposed of. So
I got you.
nothing is coming to replace. Though, so I just have this love of old cars and the way they smell, the way they drive, you name it. So that's what I do for fun.
Okay, collecting old cars and fixing them up and making sure they still run and stuff.
And you froze. Ah,
We back?
we're back.
All right, let's pause for a second so I can clip
Yes,
that out.
no problem.
All right, so you love collecting old cars, fixing them up, making sure they're still running good and smooth.
Just keeping them alive and restoring them too, like so they don't get to be disposed of because people throw them away because they're so expensive to restore, right? So a lot of times people save stuff and eventually junkyard. That's obscene. That's
Yeah,
obscene, I
yeah.
think. So,
Well, awesome. You had a lot of titles. Tell us a little bit more about what you do and why, how you got to what you're doing today.
boy, life story is I have three phases to my life. And my life as a kid, which was I was born in my the black sheep is one thing, feeling the black sheep of the family. I didn't belong to these people. It's how
Yeah,
black I was. So I was 5 years old when I realized, this is something really wrong here. So I literally ended up raising myself, taking care of myself, and knowing at 5 that I was alone in the world. I had to like make my way.
mm,
So that created a lot of resilience, out of no choice. Um, so I ended up in a dance class at 15, uh, doing ballroom, and discovered I had a talent for ballroom dancing. So whatever the teacher, the first class, I remember the girl on my arms and the teacher on my right, and whatever he showed, I could just imitate, copy, almost like something I already knew that somebody was reminding me of. It was really strange because I had no idea I had this. I mean, I never danced my life, so I made a career out of that, because that's all I wanted to do. I was a sad little kid. All of a sudden, this makes me smile. This makes me laugh. This makes me happy to get up in the morning. So dancing was the only thing I wanted to do, just because it lifted my spirit. Made that a career. So I made my way from Canada all the way to Los Angeles and became a professional dancer. And I worked with Michael Jackson, Prince, Paul Abdul, Julio Iglesias, and I did that for 15 years. I traveled the world. I I taught. I performed. So good story, right?
yeah,
From a snowbank in Canada to Los Angeles with Michael Jackson. That's a good story. But I did it. That's all I wanted to do. That was my life's dream, and I was gonna make some money at it. So you have to go to the top anyway. So I got fortunate. I'm talented that way. Like just the gift was there, so that was a good shot in the arm. But eventually, I wanted to start a family. I met my wife as a ballerina, a prima ballerina, so we're both dancers. That's how we met. She was one of my students. Oops. Oops. I mean, where else are you going to meet the girl, right? I'm just saying, I'm surrounded by girls all day long in class. So, sure enough, we were both performing and traveling until we decided to start a family. And when I decided to start a family, I was very conscious that I want to be present in my kid's life. I didn't want to be in Europe. I didn't want to be on the road, right? So, I wanted to be the daddy that I didn't have, and so I I quit the road and literally. So I told my agent, I'm like, I'm not going out of town anymore. I'm in Los Angeles. I live here, so if there's work in LA, I'll do the work in LA. Don't send me anywhere else. I'm not leaving the city anymore. And she's like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, my sister, I'm taking a stand. She was, what are you going to do for a living? You know, because it's going to ruin your, I'm like, no, I got a plan. And so what happened, get this is where this started. Stage two of my life, I opened a auto body shop to take care of my car addiction.
Yeah.
But it became a very successful business really, really quickly. Cars in Los Angeles, and I'm a good businessman. You give more than they expect. Boom, you're a star, and then word of mouth and all that jazz. So I did this for many, many years until in 2006. Brain, part of my makeup, like physiological makeup, is I'm a curious guy. I want to know everything about everything. So I was always into learning more personal development, for business, for personal stuff, for money, for whatever I didn't know, trying to again find my way through life because I started crooked, felt like it. So I was 23 years old in my first personal development class, and I never stopped. So throughout all of that, I was taking personal development. In 2006, I ended up in a workshop here in Los Angeles called Understanding Women, and I was invited to it. I didn't pay for it. It was sort of a gift, and I remember thinking that's going to be really cute. Like, like as a man, as an artist, as a dancer, I had not a problem with that. Let's put it this way.
Yep.
Like, so by then, when I'm married, I have two little kids. I'm not looking for this stuff, but anyway, I went, and that day I realized I knew nothing about women, absolutely nothing. My brain just exploded out of like really understanding. I realized like I knew something. I mean, I was the guy who always had it ease with that. Couldn't have told you how, but anyway. So, and I realized no, I know nothing about women means I know nothing about my wife, and we have two little kids,
Yeah.
right? She used to have a problem. Like, what is it that I'm doing that she's taking personally? What is it I'm doing she's misunderstanding? What is it that I'm doing that she's misinterpreting? What is it I'm doing she thinks I'm saying and doing that I'm not? Because I learned all that in that workshop. Like, holy, this is really dangerous. I have two little kids. All my brothers and sisters are divorced twice, three times. I have my baby girl, my angel, my wife. I'm not gonna mess it up because I didn't know. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, so not want to be statistic. That's how the whole relationship thing started. Um, I took all their workshop, that company, and within a minute, I'm a workshop leader because I'm a teacher at
Yeah.
heart, and that's how this whole thing started. So I went from that company, uh, didn't continue with them, but I started studying with other masters like Dr. John Gray, Mars and Venus guy. Uh, 5 masters on which shoulders I'm standing on, like the stuff that they've learned in their work that was taught to me along with my own discoveries. And so a few years back, 2009, we started Project Equinox, which is my coaching company. I had both companies for a while. I was trying to keep the body shop as a ATM machine, right? Because it was just, that's not what my heart was anymore. My heart was into this. And eventually I got so busy on both sides because both companies kept growing that I had to sell the shop. So I'm now doing this full time. That's my only source of income. I'm not, you know, I'm not a coach that's what I do. Like every day in and day out. I've been sitting in this chair this morning. It's now 1 p.m. in Los Angeles. I've been on this microphone since 8 o'clock this morning
Yeah.
with two half hour pods. So that's my world. So that's how I get to be here. I'm the guy who's now again standing on the shoulders of masters in this field, help men and women understand and alleviate the pain, the confusion, the misunderstanding, and teach them how to build healthy, loving, long-term relationship. It's incredible. And for some of them, in the end, I get to marry them. Like I just came back from Vegas this weekend. I was in Vegas marrying a couple, and I told you earlier I'm going in May to Texas to officiate a wedding for another set of clients.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. And it's kind of nuts. I'm the luckiest guy I know. I'm the
Yeah.
luckiest guy I know. So that's how I get to be here. Sorry, that's a long story.
No, no, I love it. Thanks for jumping into it. And so
Mm.
the main thing you do, help men and women understand each other and use that understanding to build great relationships between each other.
Yeah, it's really, we think it's funny because and it's funny because it changed throughout the years. About 10 years ago, the challenge between men and women in relationship was always the man and woman thing. He doesn't talk enough. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what's going on inside of him. I wanted to share more, right? Like women want to dig and know more about how we feel because that's how they function. right? And we always look at them like, why is she still talking? She's still talking. How come she's talking? Why so many? Right? So we kind of like, so that's always the different. Back then, it was always that, like the difference between men and women that confused both sides, and they would be challenged by this, and men wanting women to act more like them, right? Be more stoic, be not so emotional, not take everything personally. Like, why take it? You know, how many times have you said that in your life? Why are you taking this personally? Why you let that go? Like, that's not about you. Or why is that? Just let it go, right? If she wants to kill you because you can't tell a woman this because you're denying her own feelings, which is who she is in that moment,
Yeah.
right? So we give each other bad advice, thinking they're the same. So it was always that. But the past few years, and radically the past 5 years, the problem in relationship is really that what the culture is pushing, which is men are equal to women, men equal to women, women are equal to men. We're the same. We're the same. We're the same. Well, we're not. This flies in the face of nature, 100 miles an hour. This is why I think I get it on paper, right? Like equality, equal rights, equal pay, equal opportunity. Of course, right? Of course,
Yeah.
that's the no brainer. But it kind of morphed into we're supposed to be the same. Like a man has to be sweet and sensitive and vulnerable and kind and loving and talking to be a good man. Otherwise, she can't connect with him. Something wrong with him. Crap. That's your girlfriend. That's not a man. That's your girlfriend. So you want man to act like your girlfriend. This is why women are frustrated. And on
Yep.
the other side, men want women to speak directly to stop taking this, right? So the idea that we're equal, which is everywhere right now in every aspect of our culture, equality across the board. Men have to be more sensitive. Women have to be more masculine. Like go girl, badass, boss babe, strong, independent, and powerful. Okay, like how much of that do you want around in your life, right? Women can be dependent, but badass in my house. Hmm, most guys aren't interested in that, right? So that whole idea of flipping the roles really on men and women sounds right on paper. In my world, what I see every day, this is again the work that I do, is a disaster.
Yeah.
It flies against nature. So, and I'm not talking about going back to the 50s. There's a modern way to do this, but there's a framework that is more naturally based. And this is what I teach my clients, and they go right back to what do you call it? Polarity, the masculine and feminine polarity, like that yin yang is essential. Masculine and feminine, yin yang, black and white, positive, negative eons, right? There's a magnetism. Everything in nature is polarized. Everything in nature is polarized.
Yeah.
Anything that grows, that flourishes, that expands is polarized. Masculine and feminine, black, white, day, night, like all of it is always in contradiction. One cannot exist without the other. So when we just like neutralize this between men and women, we wonder why it goes to hell. It goes to hell. So there's a way to do this. That's a modern way where women can be strong, independent, but in relationship, like he wants to lead if he's normal, if he's a man. He wants to lead, but so you have to let him. So it's not what happens. We end up in conflict. Do you know what I mean? We
Yeah.
end up in conflict and fighting with each other as opposed to getting in sync. Because men and women are made to be complementary. They fit together beautifully, with being two different pieces of people, right?
Yeah.
So the feminine complements the masculine complements the feminine. So it's not equal. It's not the same, in that context. It's complementary. So if a woman is too masculine men aren't interested in that. They usually walk away. They don't want to get close to that. It's irritating. It's off-putting. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
boss. I like masculine men actually like to be in charge and be the boss and lead their lives. So if that's what one wants to do, they walk away. And women like, he's intimidated by me. No, 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 no. He just doesn't want that around him. At work, it's fine. In his house, hell no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on the flip side, the same thing. When men are, in our culture, we shame men out of their masculinity, so they're sweet, sensitive, and soft. A lot of them, they don't take the lead. They don't work so hard. They want to be comfortable. Right? Women can't respect that. Women can't respect that. So it's really complicated out there. But it's our fault. We did it. Anyway, that's what I'm up to, right? It's right back to nature. what
Right
works
back to
best,
nature.
right? What works best is what nature does. You can go against nature all day long. You see it all over the place, and the price to pay is typically not a really fulfilling life. It was certainly not fulfilling relationships. Just
Hmm.
saying. Just
Yeah.
saying.
No,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I think I
You see it?
completely agree. And before we dive a bit more into it, I want to
Mhm.
backtrack a little bit. You talked about you went to this seminar and you realized you didn't understand anything about women, and that led
Zero.
you into this kind of deep dive into understanding men or understanding women and then understanding how to make that relationship better between
Yep.
you and other women because you understand them. Is that your motivation behind the Equinox project, or is there something else that gets you up and keeps you going every day?
Whew. Well, good question. So it started with that. It started with just me and her making sure that my wife and I are going to be good. Like it
Mhm.
was for me and her. There was just that was my drive in the beginning. I got to learn all this so I don't mess it up. And then what happened is even in my car business, I have this thing about me that's funny that people somehow just feel they could open up to me. That's always been there. People just open up to me. Blah, they tell me they're personal. They don't know me. They just pour it on me.
Yep.
So it became as the more I understood this material and this thing that people spill on me, I would be able to help them. I'm like coaching from my office at the shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And often it was funny because the guys knew it became such a thing that my employees, my guys knew that if the office door is closed, that means don't come in. Somebody's crying in a business in a car shop. Think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Which
Right?
is not
So
exactly the typical environment for that.
well, right? How does that work? How does it even possible, right? But again, it became this thing. So that became the beginning of the coaching machine.
Yeah.
That and then people the women would get back in touch. Thank you so much. I get it, and so I started. And then my sister at one point, my sister was struggling with her marriage. This was 2009. This is when I actually launched Project Equinox officially because of her. We're on our way. We're driving to my dad's funeral, and she's struggling, second marriage, struggling again. By then I'm really well trained. I have a lot of knowledge, but I don't live near her. So on the drive to Quebec City to my dad's funeral, it's a 2.5 hour drive. We got a yakking, and she's asking question now. Poop, 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 poop. What you don't understand about him is that da, 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 da. And then often this will happen because he's responding to. Anyway, so at one point she says, down driving down there to the funeral, she's like, you're really good at this. You should probably teach this.
Uh-huh.
That was the moment. So soon after we launched as part of Equinox, I was still had the business at the shop. Like I said, thinking I was going to try basically merge into that kind of career business, which is what I did. But something else happened because even though this is it's very satisfying business. I get to help men and women. I get to marry the ones who step in, and I mean, it's really incredibly fulfilling
Epic.
that's epic. Every day, like every day, every week. You watch people change in front of me, and they get it, and they're thankful, they're happy, they're joyful. They kind of, and it changes even their relationships with their families, and so it's really quite unbelievable to watch and to be part of that. Um, but funny, since I was little, I think I didn't tell you is one of the reasons why I didn't take my life at one point is because there was something pulling on my heart that kept saying, "There's something big for you to do." That's always been there. So when I discovered dancing again, that I thought maybe I'll be a dancing star, and I made it all the way to Michael Jackson, but that wasn't it. And so when I started the car business, I thought maybe I'll be discovered like a TV show or something, and that there was that kind of something huge is in front of you coming was always there. So, but I never could figure out quite what that was until this. So when I started this, and to see the impact and how it changes lives, my wife says all the time, she says, "You're doing God's work."
Yeah.
And I go, I don't know if I could say that, but I'd like that you say that because So what happened is the pull my entire life, the pull on my chest, there's something bigger, something bigger, something bigger. There's something, you're here for something else, there's something very large. My God mission that I realized a few years back is this is my job by myself, but not really with others, to teach this to the masses.
Mm.
I have a successful business, so I'm not, I don't need more of that. But the purpose, the point, the mission is to teach this to the masses, to kind of recalibrate the culture. That's my God mission. It's right there. I don't know. God is up here right there for me, and this is a big dream. So that's what gets me up in the morning. That's what's gonna be pushing. That's what keeps me plugging and plugging. And it's not. It's the clients, but it's just, it has to be. The mission is so much bigger. Like I call it Oprah Big. Understand? Like Oprah Big. This
Yeah.
has to be Oprah Big. This is the people are dying to hear this stuff. People are confused and in pain. Women in pain. Men are isolated and lonely. It's not working. Our culture is falling apart because family are falling apart. And when you destroy family system, culture falls apart. You can only raise healthy children where they have healthy families to raise them, right? So when children aren't raised in AB, you know, uh, family, if they're missing one parent, we know the damage that caused. Like they can't. It's very difficult for them to create solid bonds with adults when they grow up. And if you can't create solid bonds as a young adult, you can't create healthy families. So you can create, and there's the machine falling apart completely, right? So that's my God mission, is to reverse all this.
Mm.
Ouch! I mean, I used to resent it. Now I embrace it, but it's huge. And so the reason why I do podcasts like this is thank you for inviting me here, because it allows me to spread the waves out there to to basically kind of send the message out and see what, where, how, a TV show, a radio show, an ongoing whatever, like to teach the stuff to the masses. That's what
Yeah.
gets me going. Good question, thank you. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad I asked. And that's awesome, man. So our next section of the podcast is actually dreams and goals. And it looks like you segued right into it.
Oh,
Sounds like you want to make Project Equinox Oprah big so you can reverse the culture. Is that right?
yeah, that's and not reverse the culture, reverse the tidal wave of what we thought was better that turns out to be worse, right? Just recalibration to back to things that more natural, that flow better, that make human beings happier. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Happier, and what that means is a more standardized, tenderized way of operating. If you're a man, you function like a man through your masculinity. It's good for you, and it's good for the people you can take care of from that space. We need women to nurture what we create together, right? That's instinct in women to nurture and care and sustain the system. So there's two different machines, and that's the way we like, again, that idea of equality, what sounds so good on paper, it doesn't work in Love Matters. It just doesn't work. We're as equal as one of my crass phrase, we're as equal as our genitals. Exactly, completely in opposition, perfectly made to fit, though. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
everything about our men and women. What I bring to my wife that she doesn't have naturally, right? What she brings to me, I don't have naturally. So it's together that we actually create a union and a partnership where we actually are better together than we're separate. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
All what I have to do is provide and protect and cherish her and the kids and build my kingdom and my kingdom the way, put my arms around their lives and provide and protect. Makes It's a lot of work, but I'm proud of it. I'm happy to do it. I'll kill myself to keep them all and comfortable. Do you know what I mean? That's my
Yeah.
instinct and nature. I'll take that on. It's difficult, it's hard, it's a lot of discipline, it's a lot of whatever, but it makes me proud to do it. My proudest moment when the kids were a little bit little, I had to shop at the time and I was doing all this stuff. And so I'd literally leave the house here in the morning at 7 a.m. and I'd rolled in at 7 p.m. I was gone 12-hour days,
Hmm.
right? And my wife works part-time. She's still a ballerina. She works at the colleges. So she allowed to keep living her dream, but she was also able to pick up the kids at school at 3 o'clock, feed them a snack, do their homework, and then have playtime and everything. So she had a part-time career plus being a mom, right? Like full life. I was killing myself at work, which is completely fine with me. But my proudest moments would be in the summer. You pull up in the garage, and when I pull up my garage, and I turn off my car at 7 o'clock at night, when it's still light, then I could hear them all play in the pool, right?
Yeah.
And I go, I did that. Like I do that. Like I'm providing that for my wife and kids. Like I'll kill myself to keep them in that space. You know what I mean? Like that comfort and that. So as a man, I want to build, I want to push, I want to create, I want to conquer everything, you know, and that makes her feel safe. That makes them feel safe. Do you know what I mean? I provide the machine of life. On the other side, she does the nurturing and the part that I can't do. Pick them up at school, love them, be patient with them because I'm not as patient. Like she's built for that, right? She's built to use your words, right? Where I pick up by the pants and put them in the room. Do you know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
Like right, we have different attributes and are beautiful, and they made to fit. So to dismantle that really, really dismantles everything, and it makes life complicated, and we end up splitting up because he's doing it wrong. He's supposed to. He's not a girl, right?
Yeah.
He's not a girl, so men won't stand for that, and so again, that all the complications that I see is that stepping away from what we naturally like, living our own attributes that are more natural,
Yeah.
and there's all kinds of flex and negotiation in between, right? It's not black and white, but there's a system, like I said, of I call it the sweet spot. There's a sweet spot in everything. Find the sweet spot. Find the sweet spot. I get to lead, but I can't be a tyrant. You know what I mean? She gets
100%.
she gets to nurture. She doesn't be a slave.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's again the companionship, the partnership, the dance. Right? Look behind me. That's actually my favorite thing. This is me and her dancing.
Ah, I love that.
Right. But so the metaphors with dancing and relationships are incredibly similar. If you look at this, like in the dancing in ballroom, especially like in ballroom dancing, there's no equality there. Two different pieces coming together, creating the dance,
Yeah.
right? Men and women, two different pieces create a relationship, a family. So I like to lead, just like I do at work. I like to lead, to push, to right, control everything. That's the masculine, right? But I have to have a certain amount of sensitivity when I dance with her to not to crank her elbow or her arm, right? I could overlead, I could crank her, I could hurt her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have to be a leader with sensitivity. Hello, relationships. You know what I mean? On her side, what she's doing is not passive. Because a lot of women think the culture has women believe that being a woman is passive and is femininity is stupid and no power. So go girls more. Well, no, that's two men. We're not. I can't have two Fred Astaire's up there. It won't work,
Yeah.
right? With Fred and Ginger, we need one of each. So, but to think that the feminine in the relationships in life is passive, it is not, right? What she's doing back there is everything I'm doing, but backwards in high heels and a dress. You know what I mean? It's not passive. She has to hold her frame. She has to connect to her entire body. So we actually get to communicate in that frame, right? She's not passive, very active. However, she has to be vulnerable to my leadership. Otherwise, if she's trying to drive or lead as I am, this is where I get the elbow to the face or the knee to the groin, right? Like you can't both grab the wheel.
Yeah.
And this is what destroys relationship nowadays with the idea of equality, right? Both people go for the wheel, right? But if you go pilot co-pilot, they have two different roles again to fly the plane to the safe place. If they both go for the wheel, the plane crashes. This is what I see all day long, right? So equality does not work in that sense. Complementary, find the things that you negotiate that you want to do, that she wants to do, that he doesn't want to do, that she doesn't want to do, within the frame of our natural nature. Fantastically simple.
There we go.
Boom.
Let's
You
go
ever
ahead and
see?
dive a little bit deeper into um, what the sensitive leadership
Yeah.
and the vulnerable following
Yes.
looks like in the day-to-day dynamic.
Well, same things. So if you think of it as a dance, you can't both lead, one of the things that if you go back to men and women's nature, the masculine likes to lead. It likes to it takes it takes a lot of pride in leading, and we're always in our heads planning and plotting to get ahead, to sustain the system, to win in life, to conquer something, business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is something we do automatically if you're normal, if normal male, because there's also feminine men who don't do any of that. So those are two different beasts. They look the same, but two different beings altogether. Got to do with upbringing and trauma. I get it. Same with the masculine and women. Just typically based in trauma. So when you become what I call inside out, the machine doesn't work. Life does that sometimes. But if you go back to healthy humans, healthy men and women, men love to conquer. They pride themselves in that. They team up naturally, right? And get this, when men work, when men push, that conquering of life, that going after life, creates testosterone in them. This is the chemistry part of it. And when a man builds his testosterone, he actually relaxes. Like the feeling of accomplishment, work well done. So there's a stress of pushing, which is sustainable, but the reward is the testosterone, the chemistry caused by putting in the work.
Yeah.
Satisfaction. You know this, right? As a male, you like I say this, you go, of course, of course, of course, but we don't really think about it until you hear it. You go, right, of course, right? So that's the masculine, natural masculine. The natural feminine is about the connections, the relationships around her. We know this. Career and money does not make women happy. There's a lot of statistic on this. You don't have to believe me. Just go out there and research. Like even to this day, money and career does not make women happy. What makes women happy is all the healthy relationships and connections surrounding them. Firstly, relationship, a good love relationship with her kids, if she has kids, relationship with her co-worker, the people in the neighborhood, the butcher at work, at the store, right? The mailman, right? I guess the quality of the relationship of a woman that makes them happy, right? They're much more of community, where we tend to be lone wolves, where we'll team up, but we'll still push. So again, back to nature. So in the realm of relationship, the support that a man needs to conquer life is only really possible by the woman who believes in him.
Mm.
So if you think about this 1 second, and again, people who've not experienced being in a loving relationship that works is foreign. It doesn't connect. But I want to say this because people need to understand how beautiful the beauty of that in itself, which is basic and in coming together, complementary. As a man, I'm always pushing, trying to get ahead, right? To prove myself, because ultimately, I'm not really sure that I can succeed, right? I try and I hope I can do it, right? But there's a part of me that's always sort of I hope it works out,
Yeah.
right? It's called a self doubt. A man's self doubt is, am I really capable? Can I really compete with these guys out there? Can I really get ahead of the pack, right? Can I really, right? That's the man's self doubt. We're never without it. So even though I'm fighting and I'm pushing, I'm always really questioning myself. Always questioning myself, right? A woman's self doubt is she also has a self doubt completely separate. Again, this is one way that we completely miss the boat on each other and understanding this as well. Have the wheels come off on a regular basis, but a woman's self doubt is, am I really lovable? Can a man or person, anybody really love me in this body with all my flaws, because they're aware of all their flaws. We don't see most of them, right? In this body, with who I am inside and outside, can somebody really love me as I am? That's a woman's self-doubt. So this is why they take everything personally. This is why when we forget something or say something, we don't do it. It goes right to, see, he doesn't care. See, he doesn't care, right? Like, so it's insulting to the, am I really lovable? Because anything that shows that she's unlovable triggers that, you flip that nerve. Now she's upset, she's mad, she's hurt. I mean, how many times, I mean, when I started doing this work, I realized at one point that I was hurting my wife all the time with no intention. How is that possible? Because of that default, because of that self doubt. You know, if I said something off color, if I said something with the tone, if I was frustrated, right? Like, you know, she would literally go into he's gonna leave, right? He doesn't. I'm not pleasant. I'm not pleasing. He doesn't love me, right? I did it again, right? Like very interesting. So that whole dance, if you understand that we're so different, we need different things, but we need each other to be better and bigger. As I'm protecting my wife, she feels loved and cherished. It relaxes her. She feels safe, right? And she can breathe. If you think about this, when you ask a woman in marriage, right, you actually vow in front of the world to protect her for the rest of her life.
Yep.
That's why it's a big deal, right? Like some guy announces outwardly to family and friends that I am going to take care of you the rest of your life. The ultimate compliment. You see it? She's going to be safe. This big strapping dude, even if he's not big, he's a man who's capable and he wants to take her on. He will take her, right? That's the ultimate compliment. So that alleviates her self doubt. You announce to the world, right? This is my woman. A man's self doubt, am I capable? Here's the magic: is that when I doubt myself, which is constantly, I hope this is going to work. I think this is going to work. Maybe this is going to work. Is that going to work? We'll try. I've done it before, but this is
Yep.
right. You know this. But when my wife says to me, "What? You're kidding, right? You're gonna work this out. You've done it before, dude. Get serious. Have you seen you when you put your mind to something? Just gives me goosebumps just to hear that because she said it to me, right? When your woman believes in you more than you believe yourself, you cannot not do it.
Yeah.
Her her believing in me gives me the confidence to go conquer everything. Literally, the mechanism is if she believes in me, who am I to doubt it? And she thinks I can, so I go, right? So, and men conquer the world and create things bigger than they could ever dream possible because there's a woman saying, "You got this. I've seen you do it. Go, boy."
Yeah.
Right? Do you feel that shit?
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at your face, right? So,
Facts.
literally, if so, this is why we say stuff like, you know, behind every great man is a fantastic woman. That's the cocktail. That's the formula. That's the yin yang. That's the support that he needs. And he goes conquers things. He'll build things he had no idea he could create because she believes in him. And guess what? She gets in exchange anything the hell that she wants
Yep.
with the money that he makes. Provide protection. Like, you know, this is the freaking formula. This is how this works. This is what it's always been. By the way, since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
What are we fighting this for? Men want to take care of women, and women want to be taken care of. Women want heroes, and men want to be heroes. Women want to be nurturers, and men want to be providers. What are we freaking fighting for?
Yeah.
Right? It's stupid.
I'm right
And
there with
again,
you.
it's a cultural pace. Go girl, badass. Men are supposed to be sweet. Equality. Absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely not. So sorry. That's not how it works. And everybody's more confused than ever. Proof is out there. Don't just pay attention. Everyone's confused.
There we go. Well, we got about 15 minutes left on the show, and I want
Yeah.
to get through a couple more questions. So,
Bring it. So you give me, I'm going off here, right? But this is my world.
all good, all
Ah!
good. No, I love the energy. I love the passion. Are there any other dreams or goals that you want to add to the list outside of making Project Equinox Oprah big?
Well, I, uh, I mean, in my head, I see, you know, stadium filled. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And
Yep.
then I'm like, you know, and coaching coaches to like certifying people to teach this material, like to the masses. Like this is a big world machine, honestly. It'll start, you know, on this side of the world, but ultimately just like crossing over. Like when it's not about being famous, I don't care about this. I've been there. Stupid. It gives you nothing. It's actually quite stressful. It's
Yeah.
just about the material and helping. You know, the God mission is to help people. You know, go back into understanding how to create healthy, loving, long-term love relationships, so they can raise healthy children who can then go into and build healthy, long-term loving relationship of their own. with their own healthy children. You know what I mean? Like that the formula of success for culture and society is still based in the family system.
Yeah.
And when the family system falls apart, everything falls apart. Look what's out there. So that's the big dream. Ultimately, it's a planetary movement into just going back to what works better.
Yeah.
Hmm?
There we go. Well, what are the top 1 to 2 skills that you need to develop right now to start making these dreams come true?
Well, mine are pretty much in place, from doing it, from doing it since I was 5, really. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the first one is resilience. Resilience, like, anybody successful in aspects of life, whether it's artistry or business, right? They're resilient. They don't stop. They fall, they learn, they pick up, they go again. Fall, they scrap their knees, they pick up. They're like resilience. Like you can't stop. So resilience is just keep pushing and keep learning. And the other part is learning. You know what I mean? It's where you don't know that it's dangerous in every facet of life. That's what I tell my clients all the time. Like, how come he doesn't, and why doesn't, and how get it? Because you don't know. You don't know how this works. You don't know how he thinks. You don't know you don't know his operating system as a male and what he needs to be good. You don't know. You never taught that. You thought he's supposed to be like you. He's not like you. He's so not like you. Nothing is right. So it's what you don't know that's dangerous. The same with the men with women. Like men not understanding women is a problem.
Yeah.
Why would women take things personally? There's a very good reason. It's not because they're crazy. There's a very good anthropological reason for all the stuff that we both do as male and females. Hunter gatherer. It goes right back to millennia of training that had us all survive to be here. Do you understand? Then you and I are talking to each other because we have a lineage of ancestors back millions of years who managed to survive every single day to actually pass their genes for us to be here. Think about this for 1 second. It should make your head blow up.
It's insane.
Because back then, like now we live in houses and we go to the store for food, right? Back then, they live in small clans, and the job every day was to survive till tomorrow.
Mm.
You have to find survive the weather, right? Every single day, the job was to make it till tomorrow and try not to get eaten by a bear or a tiger, right? Or get taken over by the next pillaging, tribe. It was all survival. So the men and women dance was based in a survival, a system of people coming together, communities, build communities, make a system that could survive. Hunter gatherer are two different machines, but the hunter is the gatherer is the hunter. For them to come together and make babies and for the thing to grow, right? For the
Yeah.
survival of the species. It's all the same. It's never changed.
Yeah.
So like we're trying to do something that's worked for millennia.
I
Who do
love
we
it.
think we are? Who do we think we are?
Yeah. That's a
Right?
really great perspective.
It's just, this is the stuff that this was all part of my discovery. How does this work? Why does this work? Why is this so click click? Well, oh, look.
Yeah.
This is how you and I are here because thousands of years and thousands of years ago, millions of years ago, if you're gonna go right back to the caveman, right? Like
Yeah.
they made it the next day, and they made it the next day, and they met some cute little furry, like cave chick,
Uh-huh.
and he kind of he managed to show off enough that he could kill some prey to be able to feed her, and build himself a little teepee. You know what I mean? And show her they use like could protect her and could feed her, and she's like, okay, right, okay. So he had to prove himself before she
Yep.
could let him climb on top of her because pregnancy was dangerous. Women died in childbearing all the time. So sex for women through the beginning of time was always dangerous. It was a life sentence sometimes, a lot. Women died in childbearing all the time. Pregnancy was dangerous. Waddling around pregnant is dangerous. You can't run.
Yeah.
So you need somebody to protect you, right? You're vulnerable to everything. That's why you need community, other gatherers, but also the hunters to, right? It's all nature. This is how we got to be here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And think about this: generations and generations of coming together, surviving together, making babies that survive, to make babies that survive, to make babies that survive, by hunting and gathering, hunting like millions and millions of years. And you and I are looking at each other like, so what? Big deal. Hello, huge freaking deal.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna dismantle this formula like it's passe and old school and kind of stupid. Okay, all right. Well, see how that goes for you.
It
It's
doesn't work
unnatural.
out.
It's unnatural.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. So we could fight it again. You could do against nature all day long. You could go. You could be a masculine butch woman conquer lives to conquer themselves in, a soft and passive, and that's fine. That's fine. You be you. I don't care, right? But it's going to
Yeah.
cost you somewhere. It's going to hurt. It's
Facts.
going to hurt.
Facts, facts. Well, awesome. If there were one or two people you could meet right now, this could be a specific person or a type of person, and they'd really help you take that next step towards making this Oprah big. Who would that person be and how would they help you?
It would be somebody like you would go, you know what? I have a limited amount of funds. We need to feed this to the world. Okay, let's start a program. We're going to start with a TV show. We're going to put you on platforms. We're going to put you on social media, and we're going to push this to the world and let people come, have the masses able to come get this material for their sake. We'll give you whatever you want. Just come and do your thing.
I love it. I love it.
That would be one way.
And so would it be
I already have programs. I have programs and systems that yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotcha. I gotcha. Would it be in interviews like this, or would it be getting those programs and systems out there, or a combination?
Well, no, it would be teaching the material, the ABCs. Right? I already
Mhm.
have those programs that I do a one-on-one, but if you go to the masses, would be literally with the
I see.
workbooks and the teaching the how this works, right? Starting from self-doubt on both sides into operating system for both sides, why they're in place, so you understand why they work. Why does he do this? Why does he? What motivates men does not motivate women? There's a reason. Genetically, caveman again, right? Like DNA and same. So we saw we understand both sides and how they're made to complement. Where it's not supposed to be the same. It's actually so beautiful that we're not the same because when we're too much the same, we fight because
Yeah.
we both want to grab the wheel or whatever, right? Or nobody grabs the wheel, so nothing happens. So so really understanding the whole anthropology part of our humanity and our DNA and why things work and are the way that they are to the majority, right? There's no such thing as 100%. Everything is 80-20 in life. There's always 80-20 rules, right? There's 20% that's always on the outside. Hybrids, that's fine. They still are to a big percentage similar. So my point is teaching that. So instead of women trying to change men because they're not this enough, no, understand why he's this, and why he's compelled to be this, and help him do this, which will have him cherish the hell out of you, and you get everything you want from him. This. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's understanding our instincts on both sides and be able to meet them on both sides that creates this flow and this juice and this connection. That it's so profound when you get there. Uh, this is why you see older couple become at the end sort of so intertwined. When one goes away, the other one follows. Right? When one dies, the other one's right behind it.
Yeah.
Like part of them just died. They can't. They don't want to do it alone. They've created such an incredible bond. Life without the other is meaningless. So they follow right up.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. So that's how deep this is, right?
For sure.
Mm.
Well, all right,
Whew.
Andre. We got one last question for you. Ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is your favorite belief about yourself?
I've always had that, and I think that was part of my success. I think is I realized young enough, very young, that I can do anything.
Mm.
I can do anything. Like if I decided to become a bricklayer, I would have been a great bricklayer. If I decided to be an architect, I would have been a great architect. If I decided to be, like, you know what I mean? Like I never had. I had somehow the ability to adjust to anything and adapt and step into it.
Hmm.
That's a gift. That's the gift. So I've always known it doesn't matter what I do, I can do anything.
Yeah,
I decide what it is I want to do. That's a hell of a gift, by the way. That's a hell of a gift.
I love it. Well, awesome, Andre. That's all we got for you, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
You're very welcome, and thank you for allowing me to talk about what I do, go off a little bit, and help me just send that wave out there. I want to tell the audience, there is there is a way to make this work. There is things that you don't know that keep you in challenging, dynamic in relationships. Everything the culture is teaching you is going to keep you from getting there. I hate to say, but everything that the culture makes normal will keep you from getting there. This is why everybody's struggling. There's a way to do this. There's a way to do this, and it's very, very easy to teach. It's very easy to teach. You just have to know what it is.
Yeah.
If that's what you want, by the way, if that's what you want. I also have a gift for you listeners, if you don't mind.
Yeah, come on, hit us with it. Where's the best way to get that gift and contact you more?
So there you go. So my website is projectequinox.net. So there's a bunch of stuff on there. You can, my YouTube's connected to it, and TikTok and Facebook and blah, blah, blah. But for your listeners, it's again, part of my mission, and it's a gift that if typically there's two types of people who listen to podcasts. The people who are curious and want some information, right? And if so, anybody out there is the curious type, wants some information. If you go directly to my email, which is Andre Coaching the number 1 at Gmail, and in the subject of the email you put Irresistible Book, I will send for free. It's a copy of my book called So it's 30 pages or so. It's the workbook. I sell it on my website. I will send it to anybody who's curious for free. Gift number 1. Gift number 2, again, the second type of people who listen to podcasts, kind of like want to step in, want to work, they're ready to go. They want to take action. If you email me, andrecoaching1@gmail.com, and in the subject matter, say talk now. Takes courage, right? But what I'll do is I'll send you a link to my calendar, and you can book yourself an hour to talk to me. And we'll talk about where you're stuck, what's not working, right? I'm really good at dismantling this in 15 minutes. Typically it comes from childhood. Just saying, the psychology part of the work. And then what's the dream? What's not working? Where you find yourself stuck in a loop. We'll kill that up in, 20 minutes. Then from that place, understand there's nothing wrong with you. You're a product of your past. What's the dream? And then see if I can assist you in your dream. If I can't, I'll have a referral. That's my gift. Twofold.
There we go. Well, if you guys are listening to this and you loved what Andre had to say, you want to work more with him, hit him up at Andre Coaching the number 1 at gmail.com. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
There we go. That will be down in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for listening. Andre, thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate you, my man.
Of course, we will see you guys on the next one. And on that note, we're out.